Hello, everyone. A very good morning or good evening to all of you, depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. This is Megha Chaudhary. I head the global marketing at Course 5 Intelligence. Welcome and thank you for attending this webinar on optimizing digital spend using consumer search behavior. David McBride and Zabi Ullah are here with us today, and they will be talking about how search analytics is emerging as one of the most valuable sources of consumer and market intelligence for businesses. Let me give you a brief introduction to Course 5 Intelligence. At Course 5 Intelligence, we support digital transformations enabled through analytics, insights, and artificial intelligence. We support Fortune 500 companies, large corporates, and agencies in key regions such as US, Europe, Middle East, and APAC. Rapid advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning technology have enabled us to create disruptive technologies and accelerators under our Course 5 Intelligence suites that combine analytics, digital, and research solutions to provide significant and long-term value to our clients. I would like to draw your attention to a couple of housekeeping items. Recording for this webinar will be available on our website, www.course5i.com. We will also be emailing you all the link within the next 2 days. You can keep the conversation live on Twitter during or after the webinar with the hashtag #SearchWithAI. You can also ask us questions at any time using the Q&A panel on your screen, which is on the bottom panel, the second tab. We'll be asking your questions towards the end of the webinar. We have a time frame of roughly 40 to 45 minutes for this webinar, 30 to 35 minutes for the presentation, and 10 odd minutes for question and answers. And I hope you all will stay with us throughout the time. With this, let me introduce you to our presenters for the day. We have David McBride, who's SVP Digital Analytics Solutions and Consulting. David is a 13-year veteran of the analytics industries, having held analytics leadership roles in media, retail, and technology settings. David is passionate about helping companies achieve growth through data-informed customer relations, and he's led analytics teams at Comcast and American Eagle Outfitters and has created customer analytics products at IBM and Intel. Our other presenter is Zabi Ullah, who is Senior Director, Advanced Analytics and Data Science. Zabi is an expert data scientist and is highly successful in developing enterprise analytics programs using statistical and machine learning methods for business problem solving, operational, and strategic decision making. He has over 13 years of work experience in building analytical solutions and intelligence systems such as customer lifecycle analytics, marketing effectiveness, brand development, process automation, operation optimization, etc. With this, we'll start with a brief overview of today's digital landscape and the challenges of driving marketing ROI in it. Next, our presenters will talk to you about evolution of organic consumer search and how at Course 5 Intelligence, we're using search analytics to help global businesses in predicting outcomes, demand forecasting, trend identification, and optimizing digital spend.
Zabi and David will also be sharing some business use cases that show how search analytics is globally redefining market intelligence by tapping real-time, real-life consumer search behavior. David and Zabi, over to you both for the presentation.
Thank you, Megha. Appreciate the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're excited to share with you some of our learnings and to have a conversation with you as well. We wanted to talk about first the digital landscape today and sharing some thoughts that some perspectives that we've observed in the marketplace. You know, I'm a relatively new addition to Course 5 Intelligence, and I'm excited to share some of what I've learned and for you all to have some exposure to some of the really interesting things that we've got going on here. So speaking first about the digital marketing ecosystem, it's a really interesting time to be involved in this space. The ecosystem is evolving very rapidly. There are so many new acquisition channels presenting themselves, new opportunities to connect with customers. Publishers are demanding higher rates for premium inventory. The consumer purchase journey is increasingly nonlinear between offline and online, conversions happening in either or both, and they're not following traditional funnels. There are hundreds of new marketing tools and platforms emerging every year, which means that it's more challenging to track and measure and attribute spend from in one channel to conversion in another, which generally is a form of complexity in the overall ecosystem. So many challenges. The optimistic side of that is that there are many opportunities, which is how we choose to look at the space today. We recently came across some interesting research that you may have seen as well. Nielsen CMO report last year asked executives in the digital marketing space to rate what they considered to be the most important digital media channels, and they considered social media and search to be at the top of the list. In terms of the perceived effectiveness, they also ranked social media and search at the top of the list. So here we see both social media and search, evidence of both of them being considered very highly by leaders in the digital marketing space, specifically CMOs. So from a measurement perspective, while digital media has these high confidence scores when compared with other media, there's still room for improvement. On the social media side, CMOs rank social media higher than offline advertising due to its measurability and therefore its the ability to accurately calculate ROI. On the search side of things, paid search is really great because it's so measurable by actual investment and clicks. You can very specifically track the ROI of that investment. But on the organic side, it's not quite as clear. We often call organic search the opposite of paid, so free, but is it really a free traffic channel? And how do we measure the impact of something that doesn't have an associated price with it? So therein lies a challenge and therefore an opportunity. Search clearly is an important channel within the overall digital marketing ecosystem. There's over 3.5 billion searches per day on Google, and so this is a channel that marketers just can't afford to ignore. So these opportunities must be addressed. I'd like to turn it over to my colleague Zabi and let him walk you through some of his recent activities in this space.
Thank you, David. Good morning and good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for giving your time for this webinar. So let me jump straight away into this. The fact is, David, the search engines have become the go-to channel for accessing any kind of information these days. So we search all the times to know something out of curiosity, or we search about things that we picked from our exposure to media, marketing buzz, trends, etc. So that whopping number of 3.5 billion searches per day on Google, I think it clearly justifies me. Also, the way we search on the search engines, I think the consumer behavior on search has evolved over time, and these days, if you look at the search queries, are no more than 1 or 2 words. So as per our study, we found that 6 out of 10 search queries performed on the internet are made up of at least 4 words. So suppose if we are looking for best restaurants nearby, we used to search with keywords such as best restaurants in Bangalore, India, etc. But these days, we search something like, where is the best place to eat nearby right now? So it is because the search engines have become extremely accurate, showing results to such long searches. I think the question is, can we access the search traffic data, search behavior data, very specific to the topic of interest? Can we get some sense on what people are searching about certain products and brands and use this information? Yes, I think this is what we're going to be talking in the remaining part of this webinar. So let's first understand how consumers go about searching about a product or a brand on search engines. So we can take all their searches related to a specific product and put them into two groups. One could be a pre-launch searches. The other could be the post-launch searches. The pre-launch searches are basically what people are searching about new features, functionalities, in some form expressing the expectations that they are looking from a product. Whereas post-launch searches are very specific research on a given product or a brand, showing their consumption interest. So in our search analytics capabilities and the programs that we do for our client, so we help clients access this type of search behavior data. And we also try to identify the search themes, relevant search themes, and how these search themes evolve over time, and helping them predict certain business outcomes with the help of the search data. Our vision from the search analytics program is to provide our clients the real-time access to this analytics by combining data from multiple sources, not just the search, but also how we can leverage, how we can combine the search data with the consumer purchase journeys, and then look at the search data in the context of what competitors are selling on e-commerce websites, such as at what price they are offering, at what promotions and discounts they are running at a given point of time. And providing all these insights on real-time basis would help brand elevations and on-time marketing decisions. So with that, with our search analytics program, we not only provide access to what people are searching, as I said, we also leverage how competitors are selling their brands on e-commerce websites and various other forums. With all these data, we provide insights about the sales forecast, what is causing your sales surge and decline, etc. So, and all these actionable insights are provided on the real-time basis, and hence this is extremely valuable to the businesses. So now let's look at how we do this. So some of the common tasks that we perform in our search analytics program is we perform the keyword discovery, which is mainly coming up with a list of search keywords and queries, very relevant to a specific product. We use IDA framework for this, so which will help us guide what keywords that we need to search for, mainly around what people, whether people are seeking information or showing interest in a product, or they are desiring to buy a product itself. So we have built various different bots and APIs to pull this search data, and also the e-promotional data, basically how competitors are selling their brands on some of the e-commerce websites, at what price they are selling a brand, what promotions and discounts they are running at a given point of time. And along with this, we leverage your marketing spends, the channel impressions and performance data. And with this, we deliver the actionable insights on sales demands. We help forecast how the sales looks like, what type of search themes are influencing sales in future, and how to leverage the search behavior data in media optimization problems. So we'll show you some of the examples related to this very soon. So let me show you a few use cases here. In the interest of time, I will talk about these use cases very briefly. In fact, we can go deeper into one or two use cases in the following webinar soon. I think the first one that I have is, can we predict certain types of business outcomes? So in this case, we try to predict the influenza-like illness in various cities of the US. To identify, the whole objective was to identify the group of cities and regions which has high likelihood of influenza in the near term. So this helps client focus their media buying and programmatic activities on those regions. So how we did this, we looked at what people are searching on the internet related to influenza-like illness, such as related medicines, related symptoms and side effects. And we looked at whether these search patterns has any correlation with the prevalence of influenza-like illness. So we built distributed lag models here to identify or to predict the influenza-like illness in US on the real-time basis.
Here's a question about this. So you mentioned that you used the search data. Were there other data sources considered here?
Yeah, so in order to predict the influenza-like illness, we leveraged a lot of historical data for this from the Center of Disease Control, because this body tracks all the influenza-like observations from various sources. So we leveraged that data along with the search data. And we have built this application keeping in mind that when people are searching, I mean, this particular week, how the influenza-like illness looks like in the near future, that is the next month, next quarter, etc.
So obviously the influenza flu changes from year to year. Did they use this? Have they used this model over multiple years? And if so, did they adjust anything after the first year?
Yeah, so
they have helped them adjust anything.
Sure. So they have been using this model from last 3 years, and one of the things that they are trying to do is one of their product category is supposed to increase the immunity against influenza-like illness. I think that's why their interest is on influenza-like illness. Hence, they are leveraging this analytics to take real-time decisions on media buying and programmatic activities.
Interesting.
So moving on, I think one other use case that I have is the forecasting the demand. So we came up with 1,000+ keywords related to PC purchase behavior. For instance, we looked at what people are searching to know about certain types of PCs and laptops. Then we looked at what people are searching when they are interested in certain brands and in certain specific brands and products, and how their search looks like when they actually looking to buy a product. So in the sense whether they are looking for any kind of discounts or any kind of deals. So we pulled all this data using our APIs, and then we built a predictive model to help client forecast the demand for PCs by different form factors.
I was looking at the text in the lower right. I see there's some different form factors here: 2-in-1, reviews, laptop specials. Did the firm use this to figure out how to produce, like which form factors they were going to create, or from a forecasting perspective?
Sure. So I think one additional analysis that we give along with the along with forecasting demand is we also help them understand which search themes or search patterns are influencing for a specific forecast. So in that, because we had a lot of different keywords in this case, so we grouped those keywords into various different themes, and then we further classified those themes into form factors, like, okay, these are the themes related to 2-in-1, and these are the themes related to laptop or a specific type of laptops. So we also tried to give them a visibility, because this is a real-time application. So when they refresh these model next week or next month, they will also get to see that where most of the search is happening on that given point of time. So David, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you.
Sure. So moving on, I think I have another interesting use case. So in this use case, we're trying to explain the contribution of organic search better here. So we looked at various different search themes related to this category, and tried to establish a relationship with various what people are searching and how that relates to digital channel performances. So what you see in this network chart, all those red dots are the search themes and how they relate to various different marketing activities that client is doing. And we have also analyze that how some of these search themes influence conversion. That's something that you see on the right-hand side. So this analysis has really helped client focus more on paid search because obviously with the paid search, they're trying to influence certain types of search behavior with the consumer.
So it looks like in this case, the customer was looking to include a pre and a post perspective on their attribution model. Is that right?
Yeah, not really. In fact, what they were trying to do is, yes. So I think that's right. So if you include the search behavior, how much this search behavior will help explain the sales incrementally over without using the search behavior. So they have found out about this some upliftment to the sales because of search behavior, at least 7% at least in this case. So that's something that they have seen. And then the focus really is, okay, it is a quite significant uplift in the sales. So how they can influence that behavior by investing more on paid search.
Okay, interesting.
So one last use case that I picked up here is this use case is related to understanding the client's migration behavior, on-premises to cloud migration behavior. So we looked at what aspect of cloud migration people search about when they plan for on-premises to cloud migration. We discovered a set of search keywords relevant to this. We derived the the search themes, and we tracked those search themes over a period of time related to cloud migration behavior. And we have also tried to give a contrasting analysis to our client. So we looked at in general when people search about on-premises to cloud migration, what aspects that they search on the internet, and when they when they have already decided to go with one or the other service provider, what kind of aspects that they look at. So there were some interesting insights from this analysis, and this has helped client identify some of the key trends that they need to watch for, and they have also tried to establish some hypothesis whether the campaign and marketing events that they do has any influence on certain type of search patterns. So whenever they do some sort of a campaigns, they look at it with what kind of search patterns have really changed and what might be the reason for that.
So this looks like similar to something that I might see in Google Trends. How is this different?
So in this case, because we had to look at the broader area of migration in general, so there are various different aspects that people would look for. So we built a pretty exhaustive list of keywords that people would use to decide about cloud migration. There were aspects about the cost, there are aspects about the maintenance, security, etc. So it's a pretty exhaustive list, and accessing the search traffic data for this level of search information and for last 5-10 years, I think that's where our solution comes in place. I don't think that Google Trends would help you access that level of data with that granularity. And then on top of this search data, we built a lot of NLP models to identify the themes which are very relevant to this specific category, and then tracking those themes over a period of time. It involves a lot of work. We build a lot of machine learning models to extract the key themes which are influencing for this category, etc.
Cool, interesting. So the real-time aspect of this is valuable, but also the volume of data that we're bringing in is significant.
Exactly.
Nice.
So these are the cases that I had selected. Of course, we'll have a follow-up webinars to go with a couple of these use cases in more deeper. So before I conclude, let me just summarize, David, what we have discussed so far. I think you talked about how important the organic search landscape is from a digital marketing perspective. We also looked at how consumer search behavior is evolving and how we can leverage the search traffic data to do predictions, forecasting of various business scenarios. Um, we also learned that the search analysis is really powerful when we use this along with the other source of data available online, such as what competitors are selling, how competitors are selling their brands on the e-commerce websites. We looked at few use cases to understand how search analytics is helping companies in media buying activities, demand forecasting, and then the digital spend optimization. Over to you, David.
Great, thanks, Abhi. So for me, is what really lands and impresses me is that there's a real-time opportunity here. That there's an opportunity and an imperative, really, to use this data alongside other data sources. And with those kind of meta themes or opportunities, I see four key takeaways. That there's an opportunity here for us to use organic search to inform our overall keyword research strategy. We should be leveraging SEO and incorporating these multiple data sources in near real-time results and expecting those results. That should then feed into creative inspiration, that we should tap what's available in search to guide our design and messaging for our various campaigns. And then the next step is for us to ensure that our customers, that we as brands, or if we're helping brands, if we're consulting for brands, that we are planning PPC campaigns around peak popularity, and that should be informed by our search behavior or what we learned from organic search, and that will therefore optimize our digital spend as a final takeaway. That by capturing the true value of these digital channels, or that we will capture the true value of these digital channels by taking into account online search behavior of consumers, and then therefore we'll be more efficient in the allocation of our digital channel spend. So some very important takeaways, some interesting opportunities. I think we have some questions that have come in. We'll pass it back to you, Megha, for curation of any questions.
Thank you, David and Zabi. That was great. We do have a few questions from the audience. Let us take those up now. So the first question we have is from Sundar, and he's asking, hi Zabi, is there a way to make the keyword discovery process more automated and self-evolving, or does it require manual intervention every time a new set of keywords need to be added?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. So currently, the keyword discovery we are doing manually because it requires a lot of domain understanding about the category and what consumer behaviors are. If they are looking to buy a certain category of products. I think it's so correct, since the objective is to build a list of search keywords which covers the entire spectrum of the consumer search behavior, such as if they are looking to know about some product, what kind of keywords that they would be using. I think this would change from category to category. So hence currently it is being done leveraging the IDA framework. And to an extent, how we are automating that is obviously with the IDA framework, we are coming up with a list of seed keywords, some basic keywords, and then we leverage a lot of platforms to provide us the most correlating keywords to this. So we use AdWords, we use Google Trends and Google Correlate and many such features. We also have partnered with some companies who help us facilitate all this traffic data, and they will enrich our list by giving you the more correlating keywords. So currently it is being done manually. I think this way we will be able to come up with the most exhaustive list which covers the entire consumer search behavior.
Super. I hope Sundar, Zabi has answered your question. I will take up the next question from Patrick. Patrick wants you to move back to the last slide, Zabi, and he was asking, in the last slide, you are simply ingesting search trend data, but not forecasting against any kind of success metrics. Is that correct?
I think Patrick is referring to this use case. Yes, that's absolutely right. I have shown the use cases where we can use search to predict the outcomes, but whereas in this use case, the interest really is to identify the pain points of consumers when they look for migration and then track those behavior over a period of time. Because obviously some of the useful insights that we have provided to client is in the beginning of say the last 3 years, uh, people are more bothered about safety and maintenance cost, etc. But that's not the case in the recent time. So the interest was mainly to track these themes over a period of time. So hence we didn't correlate this with any outcome variable, hence no predictions here.
Super. Patrick, I hope that answers. If you have a following question, you can always send. The next question we have is from Danish. He wants to know, how does the IDA framework help you come up with the queries? Zabi, you want to take that?
Sure. I think I very partially touched that. The IDA is all about, it basically helps us ask right questions for relevant to this category. Say, for example, if people are trying to search about hybrid laptops and we want to capture the search keywords related to the consumer's information seeking behavior, that is awareness. So they would use some keywords like, okay, what is hybrid laptop? Explain hybrid laptop, etc., etc. These could be the possible keywords. So once we have the set of keywords which represents the information seeking behavior of consumers, then we move to look out for keywords which will help us understand their interest in specific aspects of a product. Maybe they will look for the best screen, maybe they are looking for larger screens, higher processing capacities, and those kind of things. And then as we move more towards the funnel, we try to come up with the search keywords and queries related to the immediate need for buying it. When people search for deals and price and the warranties and these kind of things, so that those keywords will help us understand that they are very close to their buying decision. Hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Zabi. I hope that helps. I was just looking up, there's an interesting question from Robert. And he wants to know, can you share the result of their doing this? Did the model then just encourage them to spend more on search? I believe he's referring to a use case.
Right, I think he's referring to the media spend optimization use case.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Sure. So media, if you do, sorry, Megha, if you don't mind, can you please repeat the question again?
Sure. So Robert wants to know, can you share the result of their doing this? Did the model, just one second, we got so many more questions that it has gone up. Okay, did the model then just encourage them to spend more on search?
Yes, I think one of the key actions that the business has taken on this is, obviously they have seen some incremental uplift in the sales because of search, right? And they wanted to see that how they can influence this. Of course, they want to continue spending on other digital channels like social, paid digital, paid videos, etc. But they have decided to increase the paid search because obviously on the paid search they had designed certain campaigns which they believe will influence the search behavior. Hence, they will see more increments in the conversion.
Superb. I think in the interest of time, I'll ask one last question and we can, follow up with more questions. Whenever people want to ask questions, they can send in their queries. But I'll ask the last question from Ashley. I believe, Zabi, you partly answered this as well. How do we get so many keywords?
Right. I think I answered that. What is really important is to come up with, the list of seed keywords. That is where we are leveraging the IDA framework. And then once we have those 20, 30 keywords, which really represents, awareness, interest, desire, and action, Then we leverage the other platforms such as Google Correlate, and we send out those keywords to our partners, and then they enrich this list where they basically give us, like related to awareness and interest or desire and action, what are the other possible set of keywords that people are searching, because that information is really coming from their massive tracking of the search behavior data. So they will help us with enriching the list of keywords.
Super. Zabi, I think we can squeeze in one more question. This is primarily from Nathan on your influencer example use case that you gave. How is the approach helping the brand today?
So I think so. One of the line of product is really supposed to increase the immunity of the influenza-like illness, and to promote this product and to help in their programmatic activities and media buying and planning activities. One of the key things that client wanted to understand is in which region or cities in US will have the high likelihood of influenza in the near future, right? And based on that, they used to segment these regions, of course, based on the likelihood of influenza and also based on some of the demographic characteristics of that region. And then they plan very specific media buying activity for that cluster of cities and region.
Great. I think we'll wrap it up with the Q&A. And like I mentioned, everyone can keep on sending us questions, even post the webinar is over. And we will be replying to people individually and also post a Q&A blog on our website for conclusion. With that, thank you all for joining us today and staying till the very end. I hope you found this useful. We will be emailing you guys a recording for this webinar for your reference in the next couple of days. And we will also have some future series on some use cases other than the ones we did today. And we will keep you guys posted on the future series of webinars. With that said, do feel free to reach out to any of us with your questions or any topic of discussion about the webinar, around the webinar. And you can write to us at info@course5i.com. We look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you so much. Thanks, David. Thanks, Zabi. And thanks to all the participants who joined us today.
Thank you, Megha. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Megha. Thanks, everyone.